Oh, God. He's not real. There he is. All right, everybody. Welcome to the very first episode. Episode 0, we're calling it, of NS, Nintendo Select Podcast. We're doing this live because we want to get feedback from the community, but also we'll be talking about news as we would on a normal episode and all that fun stuff, so we can read chat as we do it. Did it just go away again? There you are. Okay. Abram. Yeah, no. It's scary. It's scary. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, what's up, Abram? We got King Dilly in the chat. Comment number 8 is great. That's true. So, yeah, we're just going to kind of do this normally. We're going to do the news, all that, but also be talking to you guys. We want your feedback. This is going to be a dominantly pre-recorded podcast moving forward. However, we will do these special live episodes from every once in a while. You little rascals, yeah. Hold on, someone just said they cannot hear you. Impossible. That's why we can't do live things. Tuck is silent. His mic is muted.
Is it through OBS?
I think they can hear you now. That was my fault. That was completely my fault.
Okay.
Anyway,
is my sultry voice coming in? What I said is we're gonna do live community streams to talk to you rascals.
Yeah. No. So yeah. I mean, I've been doing my daily videos, and I want to start building a more open dialogue. Let's say with my community, because I feel like I haven't talked to you all in a while.
And with the Nintendo community, because what we're searching for here is to be the Nintendo podcast. And who knows if it's going to happen? That's a lofty goal, but we're talking about there being a couple podcasts that are like definitive PlayStation podcasts, Xbox podcasts, and we feel like there's a hole that we might be able to fill. A nice Nintendo Select a Nintendo podcast shaped hole that we can sort of fill. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, yeah, we were talking like there's a ton of PlayStation podcasts and a ton of Xbox podcasts, and there are a lot of Nintendo podcasts, but respect. I don't know if they're doing quite what they could be. So this podcast, we just want to be like the definitive Nintendo podcast. Basically, we want to cover every aspect of Nintendo. We're talking movies, we're talking theme parks, we're talking every game. We're not going to ignore Advance Wars just because we don't care about Advance Wars. We're going to talk about Advance Wars. Yeah. Although maybe not in this episode because we don't have it yet.
No. We could. Isn't it out?
It is. I haven't got my copy yet, though. Or had time to play it. But we got some people in chat. What's going on? Mega Hollister. Do you think they would remake Pokemon Coliseum for Switch? I think they could remake that eventually. Maybe not for Switch, but
I don't think so.
You don't think they'll ever go back to that well?
No, why would they remake Pokemon Coliseum? Like, why would they not just make a new game in that sort of sub-series, like focusing on like, you know, high spectacle battles? Like, there are multiple, like there's 10 plus years worth of Pokemon that have never been in that kind of engine. So like I think there's no reason to remake a game like that.
Your best bet would be like if they ever do GameCube Switch Online and have it added
of course.
Like Pokemon Stadium.
The Stadium. Yeah, exactly.
Even though there's no what is it, the transferring from your Game Boy games, which makes it kind of pointless.
Yeah.
I know this will be a much better than the vanilla and safe Nintendo Power podcast from Nintendo. Hopefully. You know, we can have actual opinions here.
We'll say, ooh. And Bo and I have some controversial Nintendo takes, and hey, we'll get into those. We don't want to alienate you right away, though. So we'll hide them for later use.
We'll hide the terrible takes. But Tucker, are you ready? Should we just go and get into our topics?
Oh god, yeah. Sure.
So we have a bunch of smaller topics. Then we're gonna talk about what we're playing. Then we're gonna get into like the major topics towards the end. Yes. So we have a lot of softballs right now. Starting off, I just want to say Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp now available. And it actually did seemingly well in terms of reviews. I wasn't expecting this. It has like an 83 on Metacritic.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting that. I'm going to be honest. I think Digital Foundry did their video, and they said it's actually pretty technically impressive. I've seen some people kind of not happy with the art style and how they adapted it from the GBA. But I personally think it looks good. I'm excited to check it out later today. Are you...
I want firsthand... access to it to really make my decision on whether or not I think that it made a good translation from 2D sprite art to 3D models. At first glance, and obviously from what I've seen of the game in directs and such, I like the hand-drawn art style of the characters as they're doing their supers or whatever in the opening cutscene. But I think it looks a little plasticky, like kind of toy-like for the soldiers and stuff, and it just looks kind of simple. But who knows if that is even really going to be true if once I've played the game, once I've endeared myself to the characters in this world and the combat and stuff. I don't know if it'll be a problem, but it's not like I'm not like, oh yeah, I can't wait for this art style. It's like, yeah, they kind of look like little simple plastic guys.
I kind of like it though. I like
Yeah,
that Nintendo's not afraid. It's like the Link's Awakening remake kind of. Although I
yeah,
mean
true.
that definitely looks better. Don't get me wrong.
Yes,
But I like
better
that
lighting
they
engine.
just make games that look like this, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on, Bob Rash in the chat?
Bob Rash.
Bob Rash. Better watch out.
Robert Rash. Rash is that's an unfortunate last name.
Anyway, moving on though to our to our next little news story here. Nintendo actually added some new Genesis games to the Switch Online service. I'm not a Sega kid, so I can't really speak on these, but they added Flicky, Kid Chameleon, which I've always heard good things about. Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition, which is kind of timely with Street Fighter, was it 6 beta right now? Yeah, but then I saw our boy John Cartwright going crazy over Pulse Man. What is Pulse Man, Tucker?
Pulse Man is a Game Freak game, a Sega Genesis
I did not know
Freak
that.
Game with
interesting
with characters designed by Kensuke Mori. So it has an interesting place in both Sega and Nintendo history. But the only information or experience I have with Pulse Man is not that I've played it myself, is that Abram played through the whole game because he got it recommended to him, and he does not like it. He thinks it's bad. So that's all I can say. It's certainly obviously more accessible now. Rewind on my Switch, take it wherever I want. Looks a little bit better, runs a little bit better on the Switch. But this is a great little batch of games that they dropped there. Flicky, that's interesting. That's like a half Sonic game. Street Fighter, having Street Fighter 2 on there. Like Street Fighter 2 on Genesis was huge. So like I really like this batch that they've dropped here. And it's frankly, it's better than the drops that they've done for some of the other systems.
Yeah, definitely. I almost dropped a very controversial video a few weeks back about Nintendo Switch Online because I actually think it's a pretty good value, and it just keeps becoming a better value. I don't really care about Genesis games.
That's a core topic to talk about in the future, like Nintendo Switch Online being actually pretty damn good, and in my opinion, getting this take out there early, better than carte blanche buying things on the eShop for virtual console.
I agree because now I can try out Pulse Man, which I would have never.
Yes. Well, you want to spend $9 on that or $7 it would be? No, thank you.
I'll pass on that. All right, next up we had the Mario movie, which of course is still going crazy in theaters right now. It has crossed $700 million globally. Tucker, you're a resident movie expert. That's your official title here. What do you think of this? Okay. I mean, it's on track to become the highest grossing animated movie of all time, right?
I think it might be. I think it's tracking sort of neck and neck with the other few top grossing ones, which are Frozen 2 and Incredibles 2 and Toy Story 4 and stuff like that. I don't know if it'll end up being the highest grossing animated film, but yeah, I'm a big movie guy. Not only a big movie guy, I'm a big box office guy. Me and my roommate Tanner, we do a monthly box office recap show. We talk about all the movies that came out that month on our YouTube channel. You know, it's a sort of soft plug there. And this is the box office story of this year. By so far, it's not even funny because we've gotten some movies like John Wick Chapter 4 and Creed 3 that have done well, or like Megan or Cocaine Bear, like those have done better than people expected. But like mostly it's just been like, Ant-Man didn't do well, and Shazam 2 flopped so incredibly hard it's not even funny. But Mario making a ton of money and really being successful for Nintendo, and I thought it was a pretty goddamn good movie. I'm so happy about this. And I think it's on track to like cross $1 billion within like 7 to 10 days, which is
is
crazy.
It really? I didn't know it was that close. Because I mean, people keep talking about how it's not even out in Japan. I don't know how much Japan would actually affect it because Japan's just kind of small technically. Well, but you
were
had
talking
some
about this before,
data,
yeah. I think this is going to be the highest grossing movie of all time in Japan. Not only because the current number one highest grossing film of all time in Japan is, you were right, Bo, Demon Slayer, the movie Mugen Train. If with 40 billion yen, so that's not that much compared to what other markets bring in. But regardless, it being the biggest movie of all time financially in Japan is huge, and so like that adds a chunk onto that. And also, I think hasn't opened in Korea yet. I'm not quite sure why. But at the rate it's still making money and still holding, like, oh yeah, billion in less than 2 weeks easily.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
720 right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's already the highest grossing video game adaptation of all time, and I don't think anybody's really surprised by that. I remember like I think it was earlier this year, I did a predictions video, and I said it would probably do like around 800 million. I was trying to be, conservative, but Abram, our buddy Abram, was saying that he was like, no, it's going over $1 billion, and obviously that is definitely going to happen at this point. There's no way it doesn't.
Yes.
So really exciting stuff for the Mario movie. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the chat. But also, I want to talk to you all in the chat for real quick too.
Okay.
What
Ooh.
Nintendo movie do you want to see the most next? Because
Yeah.
I think there's two answers to this. There's the answer that they're gonna do next, and there's the answer that we want to see next. They're gonna do Mario movie 2 next. There's no way.
Yes.
That's absolutely the next one.
I mean, spoilers for the Mario movie. If you're on this channel, you've
Post-credit.
seen the goddamn Mario movie. But there's a post-credit, I think a pretty bad and lame post-credits.
So
But
stupid.
there's a post-credit scene. It's like Yoshi's hatching from an egg. Okay.
Even though Mario doesn't live there anymore. So what does that matter?
So weird. But yeah, that's probably what's coming next. I also think that they announced a while ago, or sort of soft announced, I don't know if it's still in development, but a Donkey Kong movie. A Seth Rogen Donkey Kong movie.
Did they announce that?
Yeah, that was a big thing. It was like, hey, we're gonna follow it up with a Donkey Kong movie. So my thought is, we got this, then we have a Donkey Kong movie, then we get Mario sequel, and then for me, I think the next step is Splatoon, to be 100% honest, which I think is a weird angle that most people aren't thinking of. People are like, they're gonna go Zelda. I don't really think so. But I think Splatoon is just ripe for that kind of animated quality and the spectacle and the characters, like and the unique world design. I think it can absolutely work as a movie.
I'm so scared of hearing an inkling speak English. I don't know.
Oh God.
I don't know if I want
English.
That. English, yeah, English. Yeah, I think a DK movie spinoff definitely makes a lot of sense.
Let me get the current most recent information about that. You talk about your thoughts, and I'll
for sure. Back. Donkey Kong makes sense. Zelda's the obvious, like, people are going to go to that, and
yeah,
I do think there will be something Legend of Zelda on a big screen, or maybe just a small screen TV series kind of thing, streaming service. I don't know if it'll be animated though, and it definitely wouldn't be by Illumination. Illumination is Mario. They are doing the Mario movie. They will be doing Donkey Kong. That's it. I don't think they're going to go out beyond that. So if they do like Legend of Zelda, maybe like Amazon would pick it up, like they're doing the God of War series, and it'd be like live action, or a Metroid movie. I could also see being live action.
Yeah, well, it depends on how much they want to branch out. I think that Nintendo, with putting so much like care and time into making this and keeping it so relatively small at the moment, they may want to branch out in the future, certainly. But Nintendo's currently their only real connection to film is Universal. Through Illumination, but also Universal, because Universal theme parks. That's where Super Nintendo Land is. So I don't know if they're really going to branch outside of Universal. They might kind of have an exclusive relationship there. But they certainly could. It would be harder to keep things feeling distinct, I guess, if they start like approaching everyone's like, oh, you do a Zelda series, you do a Metroid series, whatever. But I don't know. My thought process, I'll probably stay with Universal, at least for, the first 5 years of making Nintendo movies. But yeah, you're right. They could branch out of that afterward.
Abram said, I would like to see someone like Studio Trigger take on an IP like Splatoon. That would go so hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also King Dilly said Legend of Zelda with half the soundtrack being pop songs. Dude, I can already imagine. I can already imagine.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh God.
Terrible. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna get more Mario movie, more Nintendo movies. I'm more curious about how they're gonna handle series moving forward.
Yeah.
Because like Paramount's doing the Sonic Knuckles series, and if that does well, I feel like that's a Nintendo television series on a streaming service is gonna do well no matter what. But if that does really well on Paramount Plus, maybe that'll be like, oh, we obviously can do this.
We'll
now.
see. Yeah.
Maybe like
who the hell is Paramount Plus though?
Yeah, no, I don't know anybody that has it. To be honest. All right, next topic. This is a softball here, but there was a Splatoon Splatfest announced this week. I have not played Splatoon 3 since November, yeah.
I didn't hear about that. What's the
it's
sort of the Nintendo podcast host I am. What was the theme?
Yeah, it's a Legend of Zelda themed Splatfest, so you can choose between the Triforce of Power, Wisdom, or Courage for your team. The Splatoon 3 Splatfests haven't been great in my opinion. They've all been kind of one-sided. Like, I think what was the topic last time? Caleb in chat, I think you can help me out here. It was like Nessie, aliens, or Bigfoot.
That's right.
And it's like, bro, I think Nessie actually won, but who is not picking aliens?
Yeah. I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense. But this one, I mean, this is going to be a little bit more.
Yeah, I
One of
only
the
I
most
only participated in the
easy to
first
think.
one, and frankly, my game taste recently has not lent itself to playing a multiplayer game consistently. Um, so I haven't picked back up Splatoon 3, but from what I did play and from what I loved that game. I think it's probably the best Splatoon game. I think they've only gone uphill.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I agree that I don't see as much conversation about the Splatfest. I don't know if those are working as well for them with the whole try team thing.
Yeah, I think it worked better when it was just 2 teams.
Yeah.
But well, I know you're not gonna play this, and I'm not gonna play it either. But if you were to play it and ask in chat the same question, what team you picking? Power, Wisdom, or Courage for this Splatfest?
Oh. Well, I'm a smart motherfucker. I'm going wisdom.
I'm going Power, bro.
Well, I'll outsmart you.
No. Caleb said Splatoon 3 lost my interest because of the seasons format. Absolutely, they completely dropped the ball on the content rollout with this game.
Yeah, yeah.
Because with Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2, literally every like 3 days there was a new weapon or a new map or something going on.
Hmm.
And Splatoon 3, you get something every 3 months.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I haven't heard anything
it's
about
the
that.
same amount of content, sure, but it's all at once and it's way less
Hmm.
interesting. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're just trying to mimic what other like live service games do, but I think what made Splatoon distinct was that it was Nintendo's take on a live service game and didn't follow the same convention. So, yeah, I mean, I've never checked in for a season of anything in my life. I mean, I guess I played like Junkenstein's Revenge event or like Lucille Ball when I was really into
oh
Overwatch,
yeah, Lucio Ball, the
but
classic.
but yeah, no,
No,
not really my
yeah,
thing.
the Splatoon 3
We got
seasons
DLC
format.
coming out though. We got
Yeah, we
DLC.
don't know when, but yeah,
Yeah,
the Splatoon 3 seasons format definitely killed my interest in it. I played it like every day for like 3 months, and then
yeah,
I completely finished season 1, and then I kind of lost interest around the time Pokemon came out, and
yeah.
then by the
Well, you
time
had a lot to do with
by
Pokemon.
the time that I was ready to play Splatoon 3 again, I was already like almost like they were almost done season 2, and I was gonna miss all the content. And I was like, well, I'm done
Hmm.
because all that content's
Yeah,
gone now, and I'm like,
yeah.
I'm not doing this. So Splatoon, you done goofed. Great game though. All right, another easy one. Nintendo's actually opening a new store in Kyoto, Japan, later this
Oh,
year
good
on
for
October
them.
17th. And I just wanted to say, right now they have a store in Tokyo, Osaka, and of course New York in America.
Yeah,
Get a store in Europe somewhere, maybe in London or something.
that's crazy. That's crazy that they're doing Osaka before London or
Yeah,
Paris.
but also get me a store in Seattle, please.
That's another big place for them to put one. I think that yeah, that the other cities that make sense for if they're new U.S. ones are Chicago, L.A., and Seattle, probably,
Yeah, so I just want to throw that
or
in there. I hope they
I don't know,
keep
Miami,
keep expanding,
Dallas.
especially as Nintendo just keeps becoming a bigger and bigger thing, widespread with like the movie and the theme park.
Yeah,
It makes
yeah.
sense they just keep doing this.
Hmm.
All right, these next 2 things kind of go hand in hand.
Okay.
So, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet had its version 1.3 patch come out. Apparently, it fixes a lot of stuff. People actually seem pretty happy about it.
Okay,
I
good.
haven't played that game in months, so I can't speak on it, but good to see they're still doing it. I will say, and I got some
Yeah.
comments about this, I think, on my Xenoblade 3 Future Redeem reaction. Of course, we'll be talking about that later.
Hmm.
People are really getting angry that Pokemon Home support has not been added. I don't
That's
know
stupid.
how is it not out yet? I'm pretty
Well,
sure for
maybe they're
every other
just so
I'm pretty
focused
sure in every
on.
other Pokemon game it would have been added by now.
Yeah, usually it takes like what, like 2.5
Yeah,
months,
two
and
and
it's
like
certainly been longer than that.
and to be fair, they said spring, but we're halfway through spring.
Yes. Yeah, we're getting very close to summer.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I'm very glad they're fixing things. They did say that like big, like substantial patches would be coming imminently. Wha- It's been 6 months since the games came out. What are you guys doing? It's still certainly possible that something like that could launch alongside the DLC when people are really getting back into the games, and then it could get reevaluated with like a little bit better performance. But I didn't hear anyone mention this, so I mean, it just might show my circles or that I haven't been on Twitter as much recently. But good that they're good. This is a good thing, no matter what.
yeah, definitely. Delhi said visiting the Nintendo New York store in 2018 and seeing the Golf War Game Boy is one of the coolest things I've seen. I didn't know they had it
Yeah.
on display there. I thought that was in like an actual museum.
No, yeah, it's definitely there. I was there like 4 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I've never been to New York, so I need to do that sometime. Make a little trip. But yeah, keeping in the Pokemon theme, they actually revealed a new Pokemon in the first episode of the
Yeah.
new series, Pokemon Horizons. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
Ash is no more. New characters,
No,
new
he's
things.
dead.
That first
Finally.
episode aired in Japan the other day, and there was you have to assume either baby form or pre-evolution. I believe it's what Terrapagos, the new legendary
Terapagos, yeah.
Terapagos. Yeah, they revealed in the DLC trailer. earlier this year. But he's a little baby turtle. I like
Yeah.
it. There's not much to say, but he's cute.
I actually prefer whatever the name of this new Pokemon is to Terapagos. I think that Terapagos having like all the different colored icons for the types is a little bit distracting. Of course that's like the point, but like I really like when they reveal Pokemon in unconventional ways like this. And like one-offs, it feels a little bit special. I mean, the whole lead up to like Meltan and Melmetal, that was so special. I remember sitting in my English class in high school when Magearna was leaked in
I remember
Korokoro.
that,
And I
yeah.
was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Of course, this is harkening all the way back to episode 1 of the original anime with Ho-Oh, which is that they still haven't done anything as crazy as that since then. But I really like them announcing Pokemon this Pokemon. It'll probably be a legendary. It has an evolution, but it's probably still a legendary. So it would be special from that regard. But like it has something distinct, which is kind of fun.
Yeah. Also, another example, the Lucario movie when they revealed
Oh
Lucario,
sure,
or maybe it was Riolu.
yeah.
I can't remember exactly which one it was, but it was like in Mystery Dungeon first, and then the movie, and
Riolu,
then Diamond and Pearl came out like years later, which I always thought was cool.
And Zoroa and Zoroark were before the rest of. Fun story about that actually. I was a huge in Pokemon as a kid. I still am. And I knew every Pokemon by heart. I had my picture books. I had my like I Spy Pokemon things. I'm like, I know every Pokemon. And me and my brother were with my mom at like some Japanese store, and they had a pack of Pokemon cards that had Zoro and Zoroark on it. And we were like, ha, we're not falling for this. These are fake. We don't know these Pokemon, therefore they are not real. And then we didn't get the cards. But then they were real. So joke's on me and my brother when we were like 6 and 8 or whatever.
Omega said in chat, "What's the gimmick to the podcast? Every podcast has got to have a gimmick."
Oh God!
All right, Tucker. What's the gimmick here?
The gimmick is 2 white boys are going to talk about video games.
That's unique.
Yeah.
two very young white boys are going to talk about.
Well, yes, true. Well, I think that what we talked about. We talked a little bit yesterday about like what we're trying to position ourselves as in this podcast space, but like I think inherently we bring a little bit different of a voice because we are significantly younger than your average popular podcast host. But also we want to have this be general Nintendo, covering aspects of history of Nintendo culture, not only just the news, that'll be a segment of our show, but we want this to be like as wide reaching into topics that people want discussed like in depth about Nintendo. And also we're just going to go as long as we feel is necessary. First, we're not going to cut ourselves off. We really want to go in depth and things, and we want this to be like really building this alongside the Nintendo community. So like if you feel like, okay, so there are some Nintendo podcasts, but they're not quite covering what we want them to cover, you tell us, and we'll be the ones to hopefully fix that and be the ones that are diving deep into all those topics.
Yeah, for sure. And also, I've watched a lot of Nintendo podcasts. None of them cover every Nintendo game. They just don't. They're not going to cover Advance Wars. They usually don't even cover Splatoon because that's for kids.
Yeah, or Xenoblade.
Yeah, right. They cover Mario, Zelda,
Warriors.
Metroid, and that's basically it.
Yeah.
Both of us are diehard Nintendo fans. We're going to cover literally every game. So, with that said, Tucker, we're going to take a quick news break here and talk about what we've been playing.
How's tough work?
Yeah, that was
on the trenches. Oh God.
So I'll let you go first. I don't think you've been playing much. You've been on your movie stuff right now.
Yeah, I have been. But also I've been on a Batman kick, a Batman comic kick. I wanted to give myself a crash course in Batman comics, and I did. I skimmed through like 60 years worth of Batman comics.
Is there like an app for that, or did you like actually buy the comic?
I have a website that I can send a link to if you like.
Okay.
But what have I been playing? Well, for Nintendo games, because I just want to focus on Nintendo. I played actually a bunch of weird Nintendo games. About a month ago when I was on spring break, I got an R4 card, and I got a bunch of weird first-party DS games that I'd always been wanting to try. And I didn't like any of them.
Do tell.
Pokemon Dash.
I've heard.
Yoshi's
I've never heard good
Touch
things
and
about.
Go.
Oh no, that one's terrible.
Both of those games are so bad. They're so bad. I think that people give launch games a little too much crap sometimes. I mean, of course, you got Breath of the Wild, you got Super Mario Odyssey games that like
Luigi's Mansion.
Super Mario 64. Sure, Luigi's Mansion. Games that people love that launched alongside those consoles. But there are also lots of forgotten launch games that people give a lot of shit because when they come out, it's like, ooh, we want this to be the huge thing. And like Pokemon Dash, the first game on Nintendo system, it's like, yeah, and you're like, what the hell is this? It's same with like for other systems, games like Rise, Son of Rome, or like the Order 1886, games that like were supposed to be the big giant thing, and then they're kind of mid. But these games deserve the hate. I mean, 100% honest. These are so focused on the gimmick of touch, they barely adapt any aspects from the core series that would make them feel distinct, and they're so content light that it's laughable. And neither of them look particularly good either. Like every possible metric you can throw at these games, like they're not fun to play. They don't have a lot to do. They don't properly represent their series. And for both of them, they were the first entry of both their series on the platforms. Like, Jesus Christ, what were you thinking? Like, you just wanted to slap the name of a popular series in the box. Holy crap.
Mercenary BDU said in the chat, Ghost Recon Shadow Wars. That's a 3DS launch title. I've never played that game. However, I have heard nothing but good things about it. People say it's the best 3DS launch title. Yeah. I need to get to that. It's like a tactics game, right? I believe, Mercenary.
Oh, yeah, like an XCOM sort of thing. I have,
right.
I believe I watched Scott DeWaz's 3DS launch lineup.
Did he talk about it?
He talked about every single game.
Oh, cool.
And the launch lineup. So that's the first time I heard of it, and probably the last time I ever think about it.
I have it. I do want to play it at some point when I was on my major 3DS
well, you're a sick bastard. You collect every goddamn thing on the 3DS.
Pretty much. Have you been playing anything else, though, you want to talk about?
Let's see if I can focus on Nintendo still. I mean, I haven't been playing a lot of like other random stuff, but I do. What else from Nintendo have I played this year? Oh, we played Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. Me and my friends were in town on spring break, and we had my Wii U, and we had my unopened copy of Amiibo Festival that I got for $5 at GameStop alongside the Isabelle and Digby Amiibo. Great deal, for 2 Amiibo in a game. And we played 2 rounds of it. It was about an hour, a little over an hour per round. So we probably played a little over 2 hours of it. And we had fun. Just taking
First
it as
person to ever
little,
say that.
we tried as little as we could. We just let it go with the flow, and like made fun of each other, and really took the stock part seriously. And it's not a very well designed game, but for trying to recapture Animal Crossing's sort of laissez-faire energy into a board game, and basing around Animal Crossing structure, having seasons, having the stock market, and certain little events and stuff, it's charming and it looks good. So like, I don't know, it's like a 5 out of 10. It's not a good game, but like, it's not horrendous.
Should it have been $60 at launch?
No, God no. It feels like a game you pay for like $15 on the eShop. But it was released physically, and I have it physically.
Yeah, me too. I paid full price for it.
Yeah, Caleb's right. Amiibo Festival is some mediocre kids bar game. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this is true.
Some people take bad games a little too seriously. It's okay for a game to be mediocre. I know Caleb in chat there has always has always been like Mighty Number 9's not even that bad, and he's right.
Yeah,
it's not even that bad.
Myself.
It's just mediocre. It's not great.
Yeah.
It didn't deliver what it was promising, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Pokemon Dash though, that's a bad game. Don't try
there
it.
you go.
I do not recommend it.
Ben Pie said right now I'm playing Pushmo and Octopath Traveler 2. Those are 2 banging video games. Pushmo is fantastic. I haven't played Octopath 2, but I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into what I'm playing though. Been playing 2 games this week.
Finally.
Well, technically one was like last week, but I will never get a chance to ever talk about this game again, so I need to do it. So if y'all follow me on Twitter, or if you watch my video I did on this, Switch Sports has finally passed away. I'm done with that damn game. So every week they would release these new cosmetics, and you earn points through playing, bowling or golf or whatever. You need 100 points to get one cosmetic, and there's 12 cosmetics a week. They did that for 52 weeks.
Jeez.
And I played it every week for the past year. It is my most played Switch game. The time tracker's messed up on my Switch. It says 220 hours, but I'm pretty sure it's more like 250 because when I transferred from my OG Switch to the OLED, it like messed up the playtime.
Sure. Yeah.
So far and away my most played Switch game. And I gotta say, looking at people's kind of reception of the game a year later, or even just like 6 months later, whatever, even when the game came out, people were not very positive.
Yeah.
It's a better game than Wii Sports. There's no question about it. It's simply a better game. Is it better than Wii Sports Resort? No. Yeah. But it wasn't a full price game either. I'm not trying to defend Nintendo for like releasing it bare bones. They definitely, the content that's in the game now probably should have been there when it came out, all the cosmetics. Yeah. But like if you bought this game now, it's $40 on the eShop. I think it's a pretty good value. If you want a
Yeah.
sports game, golf's in there now. It's pretty good. So
Yeah.
I just want to say one final shout out to Switch Sports before I never touch it again.
Yeah, God, that I think is it was one of the first things that I like really knew about you is that you were like you were the one person that really cared, frankly, about Nintendo Switch Sports, and I respect the hustle so hard. I mean, I don't know why you did it. Like, did
I
you
don't
really
know.
like that
No,
game?
no, dude. Okay, so what happened was, and to be fair, now that they're done like releasing new cosmetics, you can go back and get old weeks, like
Mhm.
old weeks of cosmetics. But for the first like 3 months, I was like, oh, I want to keep up with this so I don't miss a single cosmetic. And at that point, I had
Why?
like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't fucking know. But at that point, I had like 50 hours in, and I was like, all right, right now in the data mine, there's only like 6 months worth of content. I'll just stick it out until October.
Mhm.
And then when October came around, they released a patch that
Yeah.
added 6 months more.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like,
Mhm.
now to be fair, my playtime's a little inflated there because for probably about 150 of that, I was just playing bowling.
Mhm.
And I would just play it with my right hand while sitting here watching a movie with my girlfriend or something.
Oh, sure. Just for the grind, yeah.
Yeah, no, I would just be sitting here, all right, watching TV.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's because you get the points anyway.
Oh, no matter how well you do. Yeah, of course.
Right. If you do better, you get more points. But
Mhm.
bowling's so simple, even with like
Yeah.
the obstacles, that it was fine. But yeah, I just at a certain point, it just became like a personal, like I had to do it.
Well, of course, absolutely. I mean, once you're that far in, it's like, what
No.
else are you gonna do? And you've gotta be one of less than 10 people that
Oh,
have
more
done
than
that.
that, dude. More than that. There's actually a pretty big like
Really?
because I would like there's this one guy. I think his name is Wipeout Jack 7 on Twitter.
Okay.
Or they would data mine the game every time there's a new update in like telecosmetics,
Sure.
and
Sure.
their tweets would have like a ton of replies of being like, oh,
Mhm.
I can't wait to get these new cosmetics. So there's definitely probably less than 1,000 people I would say that
Yeah.
have done this, but it is
Mhm.
a very active
Okay,
1,000
okay.
people.
Hey, I exaggerated. I didn't know what I was talking about. I made an assumption. I apologize. But
The
yeah,
game sold very well. I want to make that clear. It
did
sold
it?
like
Yeah,
10 million copies.
what yeah,
Yes.
what are the stats?
I think the
on that? I
last
don't remember.
number, which was what December sales, was
Yeah.
like 8 million or something like
Nintendo
that.
Switch
So
Sports
it did pretty
sales.
well.
Nintendo Switch Sports passed the sale milestone February 18th, 2023 from Game Rant. List of best-selling wait, in Japan. What? Where's the number? Come on, Game Rant.
King Dilly in the chat said Switch Sports is very good, but could still be much more. Yeah, 100%. And I hope. Well, I almost don't hope they release another one because I'll feel like obligated to
Mhm.
play it. But if they
Yeah,
did
yeah.
a Switch Sports Resort that literally just took everything verbatim that is in the base game right now, Switch
Yeah.
Sports, and just added basketball and baseball and a ton of
Yeah.
cosmetics, they'd have a pretty compelling package in
Yeah.
their hands.
And with that, I think that part of what I did like about that game, I did play it, and I played it enough to where I felt satisfied, which is not that
What, an
much.
hour?
No, I played more. Hey, I played more than that.
No,
I played more than that.
that's the joke though. That's all the content there is when the game came
True,
out.
it's
Is an
true.
hour of content. You play one match of each
Um,
thing and you're done.
was Spoko Square. I love Spoko Square. I think that all the backgrounds that they have for the maps and the sort of like little environment they go on, like cafes and vines hanging down when you're playing Shambhala, like I think that place is so cool that if they are to do a resort version of it, sort of upgraded, I think doing what they did with Wii Sports Resort and having a
Make it a
Lulu
hub.
Island
Make it a
be
hub.
explorable, yeah, I really think that that would add so much just personality to it. Even if it's not like a ton of actual gameplay value, I think it would make it feel like a more premium product because as it stands, it's you select play and then you select one of the 7 sports now, and then you're playing the game and that's it. So I think that would just be a really nice touch. And they obviously have like fully 3D rendered versions of these areas. They just like some fucking paths to like stitch them together. Why not?
I almost wonder because I think there was a developer interview for this game and they said it took like 4 years to make, which is crazy. I don't know what happened there, but it makes me wonder. Maybe they were gonna do that, have like the
Yeah.
Explorer areas, and they were like, wait a second, let's not do that now. We can save that for Switch Sports Resort because I
Hmm.
do think they're gonna do Switch Sports Resort. I'd be
Okay.
very surprised if they don't, especially with
Yeah.
how well this game did.
Mhm.
But enough about Switch Sports. I will never talk about that game again until the
Yep.
next one's announced, and there will be another one. I've also been playing Breath of the Wild again, getting prepped for Tears of the Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
But I started playing through Master Mode, and I am currently doing Va Rudania, the Death Mountain Divine Beast. It's fine. The Divine Beasts aren't. You know, I'm gonna be honest. The Divine Beasts are worse than I remember.
Sure. Okay.
They're
Yeah.
they're
I
really
bet
not
it's totally
great.
fair. Yeah.
But experiencing this game for the first time since 2017, it really holds up. The sense of discovery, like I forget everything. I forgot
Yeah.
everything
Of
that
course.
happened in this game. Even
No,
the first time that
absolutely.
you see a dragon, like when you first got off the Great Plateau, I saw
Yeah.
the green dragon, and I was like, dude, this is so good.
Yeah.
So replaying
That's
this has
something that
been
I've
an absolute
argued
treat.
about for like why Tears of the Kingdom, even if it does reuse, mostly the same map and kind of like similar moments and stuff, why I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because the majority of the people who are playing, it might not fully be true, but a giant chunk of the people who are going to be playing this game at launch played the first game when it came out, or near when it came out, within that first year of the console's life cycle. And so it's been 5 years since
6.
they played it. Well,
Well,
5 to
I guess
6
if
years.
they,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. 5 years minimum. And like that, so like that's fine. Like you can have a same stepping out into the Great Plateau moment if it's been 5 years and that has been remixed a little bit and does something a little bit different. I think Tears of the Kingdom has only gotten better. Like it has a really straight uphill, like an announcement cycle. Announcement, showing a little bit, showing a little bit, showing. Oh, okay. Then that gameplay demonstration where they show off you can like stick things together, and then the trailer, which is I think not as good, but almost as good as that
It's close.
Switch presentation 2017 Breath of the Wild trailer. It's just an incredible track record for this game, and I'm so incredibly excited for it.
Yeah, of course we'll be talking about the game when it comes out.
God, yeah.
Pre-release with any news. We have one topic about it later on. But yeah, Breath of the Wild Master Mode it's interesting because when Master Mode came out, I played a tiny bit of it. I didn't get too deep into it. I think I got Ep.0, the Rivali one, so I could fly around, but then I didn't play it anymore. It really recontextualizes the way you play the game, because the Great Plateau is the hardest part of the game on Master Mode. It's like Eventide Island basically, dude. Because no matter what, every red bokoblin becomes the blue bokoblin, and you can't kill them. You can't kill them with a branch. You just have to sneak around them. And then you go to do the one shrine to get the I think it's the bombs, and there's the freaking Lionel they added to the Great Plateau. And I'm just like, okay, I'm sorry.
Gulp, yeah.
Gulp. Yeah, so it definitely recontextualizes the way you play and makes it more adds a little bit more stakes, I guess, strategy. Because I mean, that's one of the big complaints with Breath of the Wild, is that once you get off the Great Plateau and once you have like 5 good weapons, it's pretty easy. There's not really like that many unique, like you can make unique enemy encounters, but if you just want to play through the game, it's pretty much just easy. I did get the Majora's Mask, which makes it so enemies don't attack you.
Oh, really?
At least like regular enemies. So I was doing the when you're going up on Death Mountain and you're like guarding Yunobo.
Yes, you remember that.
And there's a couple, like, you have to like shoot him out of the cannon to hit the Divine Beast. There's like some moblins guarding it, but because I had the Majora's Mask one, they were just like sniffing around me while I was launching them out of the cannon. It was so funny.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
So yeah,
cool.
Replaying Breath of the Wild, fantastic. I think I'll probably finish it up today, actually.
Cool.
And then start Advance Wars tomorrow. But with that said, we're gonna get into our major Nintendo topics. This was actually a pretty packed week. I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
Like, everything we already talked about was fine. 10,000 Needles said, so you cheated? Absolutely.
Yeah, why not? He's already beaten the game.
It'd be cheating. I think it'd be cheating if it was a glitch. The Majora's Mask is a thing that's in the game. Is it pay to win? Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could have just killed the moblins. I thought it was funny. But yeah, major news story number 1. Tucker, my boy. I'm so happy. Yeah. They randomly on I think it was a Tuesday evening. It was funny. It was actually the exact same time they announced the Genesis games. They literally put out both games at once,
true.
Which is weird. I don't know why they did that. They revealed Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Expansion Pass Wave 4 with a release date, a title, and a ton of other information. So this is what we've been waiting for in terms of being akin to Xenoblade 2 Torna. This is a full... It's not standalone because you need to own Xenoblade 3, which is a little unfortunate. There's no physical version, which I hate that. But
of course you would want that,
Of course,
You already own the game, you're already playing it, you want to just have it on your shelf.
Right. This is the big standalone, you start a new save file expansion for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It is called Future Redeemed. You play as freaking adult Rex and adult Shulk with presumably their kids. And dude, it looks so good. So this is coming out once again. This is a big game. This is gonna be like a 20 or 30 hour game. They announced it on Tuesday. It is coming out on April 25th.
That is crazy.
What the hell? I still honestly can't believe it. And I did a whole video about this, and we can talk about this in a little bit about why would they do this? Why would they push this out? Because it just feels, Advance Wars comes out today, which is the 21st, and then 4 days of doing that, and then 2 weeks from now we get Tears of the Kingdom. It feels unnecessary to push Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed in here. But yeah, this is a full big boy expansion for Xenoblade 3, and it looks freaking awesome. And I joked about it on Twitter. It's literally Xenoblade 4.
Yeah,
And before Xenoblade 3 was announced, I was talking to my roommate, like, this is what we wanted Xenoblade 3 to be, is Shulk and Rex. So, I mean, this is almost more exciting than Xenoblade 3. People have data mined it also. Apparently, it's going to be bigger than Torna, by the way. So, even more exciting. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then even weirder that it's not getting its own release. And frankly, it might.
I think it might later.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really exciting. I am the biggest Xenoblade 2 fan that I know. You and I kind of bonded over that when we were going through the announcement cycle of Xenoblade 3. I played probably 15, 20 hours of Xenoblade 3. But I'm not good with long games. I'm just terrible with long games. Me. I loved what I played in that game. I honestly don't know why I didn't finish it. I started going on trips, and then the school semester started again, and I just drifted off into the wind. But I know it's a death knell, but I'd like to get back to it. I'd like to get back to that game. I'd like to finish it. I'm not a DLC guy, so I probably wouldn't end up playing.
But this is barely even DLC. It's so far removed.
I'm a sick bastard. If it doesn't come out with the game at launch, I don't care about it.
Bruh. It's literally a new save file.
I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. But
I mean, you should finish 3. You should finish 3 anyway first.
Yeah.
But
well, hey, now that I've got someone like keeping me on track, I could play through Xenoblade 3 and like sort of talk about my experiences.
You have a reason to do it now.
Yeah.
Podcast. So yeah, that's launching on April 25th, and I do want to get to like why they're releasing it soon. But also that same day, they revealed the release date for the Pyra and Mythra amiibo, the Smash Bros amiibo, the DLC. That's coming out July 21st alongside Pikmin 4. Just hype. Already got it pre-ordered from GameStop. It's a 2-pack. Beautiful. And then also, this is why I think they might do a physical for Future Redeemed later on. They announced Noah and Mio from Xenoblade 3 are getting amiibo.
Yeah.
That's weird. They don't do that.
No, I can't even remember the last time a like smaller franchise game got a specific amiibo that wasn't like a Smash character of that.
Right,
right.
Sure, like for Metroid Dread, for example, that Metroid 2-pack came out.
Oh, that's true. Day. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And Metroid is a smaller series than Xenoblade, so that counts. But but like with Splatoon, I saw some people commenting this on my video. With Splatoon 3, they released the Splatoon 3 amiibo, obviously, and you can assume they're gonna do another wave where they do like the idols and Big Man amiibo for sure.
God, please.
But I think back to like, I mean, they don't really release that many amiibo anymore anyway.
Oh, there's the Loftwing amiibo.
That's Zelda. That's Zelda though, right? Like, for like Hey Pikmin, for example. I mean, I'm going way back at this point, but like that came out with Hey Pikmin, that Pikmin amiibo. So it's weird to me that they would, or like even with Fire Emblem, I don't think they ever released Fire Emblem amiibo outside the context of a Fire Emblem game releasing.
No, but I also don't think Fire Emblem has gotten any specific amiibo since the 3DS era. No, I know, but since the 3DS era, like there were never 3 Houses amiibo. No. There was never Engage amiibo. There was never Fire Emblem Warriors amiibo. There was never 3 Hopes amiibo. So yeah, and like that's the big one of the big. And there weren't even New Horizons amiibo, and not that saying that Animal Crossing is a small series.
There was a new series of cards.
Well, I don't care because there were so many. There's so many Animal Crossing amiibo. There Lottie amiibo coming out everyone's fucking ear holes, and they couldn't do. No, I don't have a Lottie amiibo. I've got like Kix. I've got KK. I've got Tom Nook and Isabelle and Digby, of course, because I got I got them with Amiibo Festival. But like there are cool new characters that they added, like CJ and the Chameleon guy and the like Pelican Brothers that like run the airport, and then with the DLC you've got that big walrus guy, and you've got the little monkey guy with the straw hat on. Like I want Amiibo of all of those, but they just never did.
Mercenary in chat said so there was, to correct you, Tucker. Got to correct you. There was they weren't technically called Fire Emblem Warriors amiibo, but there was a
Yeah.
Tiki and Crom amiibo that released
Oh.
alongside Fire Emblem
Really?
Warriors in 2017, and then
Ooh,
Almond Celica
my
got
bad.
amiibo with Echoes.
My bad.
But that,
Okay.
to your point though, that was 3DS era.
Yes, and those were the ones that I remembered. Frankly, I entirely forgot there was a Tiki and Crom.
Yeah.
100% forgot about
I think most
that.
people
That
did.
just slipped my mind.
And then
But
Almond Celica was Echoes.
yeah.
So since then,
But
yeah, it's weird.
It's
They
just
didn't
weird
do.
that it wasn't even with Three Houses.
Yeah, I mean that's the
Like,
best selling Fire Emblem.
yes, of course it is.
I mean we have
It's also the best
Byleth.
one.
No,
Yeah.
it ain't. All right. But I want to talk about the release schedule here, and I did see some people talking about it in chat. They're clearing the slate for something. I don't know what's going on, but I did a whole video about this. Just a recap for everybody. In January, we got Fire Emblem Engage. In February, we got Metroid Prime and Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. In March, we got
Metroid Prime Shadow dropped.
Right, big deal.
Yeah.
In March, we got Bayonetta Origins, alongside the Mario Kart 8 DLC. In April, we got I didn't even realize the final major story DLC for Fire Emblem Engage already came out.
So crazy they
Why?
came out so fast, and no one talked about it. Frankly, I don't even remember seeing a trailer for it. Did they? That wasn't even in a direct or anything.
No, I think they just dropped it on Twitter one day. I didn't even know, and I love Fire Emblem Engage. So that came out. Then Advance Wars, of course, just came out today. Next week is Future Redeemed, which is going to be a huge thing, and then Tears of the Kingdom in May. Those might not be the biggest titles. They're like Bayonetta Origins. That's not Bayonetta 3, and Advance Wars isn't a Fire Emblem, although we did have a Fire Emblem. Out of all those games that have released so far, Fire Emblem Engage is definitely the biggest deal.
Sure.
In terms of a new game, because Metroid Prime that was hype, but it's a remaster, and same thing with Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Sure. But just taking them at face value as releases that Nintendo was publishing for $60 on a shelf, I can't think of a single first half of a year that they've ever packed that much.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
And it's even weirder because they don't have anything announced for the second half aside for Pikmin 4. Now,
which is barely the second half.
Right, it's July. And I saw a bunch of people were replying me on Twitter and the comments on my video saying they always do this. They always announce the games right before they release them. No,
that's
they don't.
Not true.
That's not
no,
true.
That's not true.
Sometimes they do that. And in 2020,
they usually
2020 and 2021 they did do that. But that was because
of course
COVID.
They did.
Right.
Yeah. But what they usually do is, and this is I complained about this when I watched the first Nintendo Direct of this year, and I didn't like it. I pointed out the reason why I was disappointed is Nintendo, especially for this whole Switch generation, except for when the COVID years, obviously, they had a sliding scale of what kinds of games are announced at what kind of clips. So you've got like the ones that are coming far down the road. We know Bayonetta 3 is happening. Animal Crossing New Horizons is announced 2.5 years before it comes out. Same with Yoshi's Woolly World, and then Crafted World. But then you've got some games that have the 6 month ahead hype cycle. That it was like that with Mario Odyssey. It was like that with all the Pokemon games. Of course, they're announced 6-7 months before they come out. And then you've got the ones that are a much shorter release cycle. Super Mario Party announced at E3, released that year. Same with Metroid Dread and Wario Get Together. So they've got a scale, but they're all happening at once. So you never have a period where it's like nothing. We don't know anything is coming. There's always something on the horizon.
Except for 2020. That is the key. Gotta mention that because they didn't announce. I remember Mario 3D All Stars was announced 2 weeks before it came out, which is crazy.
But Pikmin 3 Deluxe was announced 4 months before it came out.
Right. And even then, at that point, we still knew about. Well, at that point, Breath of the Wild 2, Metroid Prime 4, Bayonetta 3. We still knew these things were coming. Right now, the only thing we know is coming after Pikmin is Metroid Prime 4, which I assume is probably this year. At this point, I would hope, or maybe early next. But it's definitely weird that they didn't announce any more games in the February Direct.
True.
I'm not worried. I'm not saying there's not going to be anything. I do think that they will announce a bunch of stuff maybe in like a June Direct, and it'll be like the rumored F-Zero GX from Jeff Grubb, or maybe a Paper Mario remake, or that kind of thing. But it's definitely
a new game, please.
Right. that'd be nice too. It's also weird because like Baten Kaitos, for example, the Monolith Soft game from GameCube, those are getting remastered. Nintendo owns Monolith Soft, and they publish Baten Kaitos Origins, but I believe Bandai Namco owns the IP, so Nintendo isn't publishing it. But that's weird. Any other circumstance, Nintendo would publish that. No.
Isn't that on all our systems?
No.
Baten Kaitos thing? Or am I don't know.
It's only on Switch.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, sorry. Of course you don't. So, like, why didn't they publish that? If they, I have to assume they have a lot coming, but they're just really waiting for some reason, and I don't really know why. So I don't want to say it's Switch 2 or new hardware. I don't really think it is, but it's definitely something to talk about because it's very weird.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, it just feels imbalanced. And that was really my problem with that direct, and I guess with this year because the only game that I've put significant time into was Kirby, and because that's a turn my brain off and just play through it kind of game. But so I haven't loved this first part of the year, but it has absolutely been busy, and that's not deniable. I just want to make sure that the second half of the year has something new. Of course, we're getting Zelda and Pikmin, which are my two most anticipated games right now. But I want there to be something at the end of the year. God, we'll see. We'll see. I think the problem I had with the direct at the beginning of this year was that it put so much pressure on the next direct, like an ungodly.
We talked about
amount
this
of
in our
pressure.
discussion back then. Yeah.
They have to announce everything for the rest of the year. And not only that, likely they'll want to tease something for the beginning of next year as well, so that then the direct at the end of this year doesn't have that same amount of pressure on it. What are you doing, Nintendo? Balance your announcement schedule, please.
Maybe they just have nothing. But
Yeah.
I refuse to believe that considering what they
People
did
were
here.
saying that though. People were saying that though. From the beginning of this year, people were saying, "Hey, hold on. You know, you got Pikmin, of course, but Zelda's going to be the last." People were saying it was the last major release on the Switch, and
Yeah,
then
bullshit.
for the rest of this year as well. I don't know what the hell's happening. God.
Yeah, Caleb said I think they're waiting for Zelda to come out before they announce anything new. I can see that too. Maybe they don't want because
Like why?
I don't take credence into the rumors or like the talk of like, oh, Nintendo waits for a big game to come out to do a direct. Like I remember in 2016, people were like, oh, they're waiting to release Color Splash for the Wii U before they announce the
It's not
Switch.
a big game.
They don't care about Color Splash for the Wii U. I
No.
will say though, with Tears of the Kingdom, that might be the case.
Sure.
To an extent. Because like think about it, if they had announced a bunch of games in February,
Yeah.
people were just gonna talk about Zelda anyway. You know? Kind of the issue there. And Metroid, of course. So they didn't really need to. So we'll have to wait and see. Also, King Dilly said, since they won't release a new Zelda or Pokemon in the second half of the year, a new Mario would pretty much be the only thing that could match the hype of those franchises for second half. Absolutely. I've been saying a 2D Metroid, or sorry, 2D Mario game for a while now. I don't know if that's gonna happen though. Maybe Mario Baseball? But that's not that big of a deal.
That's not big enough. No.
No. They need something. Yeah. There's no Pokemon either, like you said, because we're getting the DLC. So there's got to be a big holiday game.
Yeah.
Maybe Donkey Kong. That's been rumored. 3D Donkey Kong.
We had a conversation about Nintendo, like the rest of the Switch's Pokemon games, and you were so convinced that we were getting a new set of games this year. I think you said Unova remakes were like basically guaranteed.
I didn't say Unova remakes. I just said some sort of new game.
Okay, new mainline game.
I think Unova's a couple years off still.
Okay. But
I do think they'll be on Switch though.
And that's not happening, which is interesting because even after that direct, we were like, okay, well at least we've got the Pokemon Company to announce a new game for this year.
A spinoff.
Then they didn't. They didn't announce a game.
Not even a spinoff.
There's not even a new Pokemon game coming this year, as far as we know, which is so dumb. So dumb.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, there's definitely not going to be a mainline one this year.
Yeah, of course not.
So, yeah. Pikmin is going to get the Advance Wars treatment. No, I think they'll market it a little bit more than that.
Now, 10,000 Noodles.
The shafting of Advance Wars is unprecedented, bro. They completely fucked this game.
Yeah.
There's no shot. To do it on the same scale, they would have to release like a new 3D Mario the same week as Pikmin 4. That'd be like a similar scale. So it won't be that bad. They might not.
No, of course not. Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. I mean, I don't know what the promotion was for Pikmin 3 because I wasn't really paying attention at that point. But 10,000 Noodles also said, if we just go months and only Pikmin, which only Arlo and weirdos care about, things are legit bad. Now, 10,000 Noodles, you don't say those words in this house, all right? That is a sin here. Bo and I have each played all
Pikmin
the Pikmin
is
games,
busting except for one,
and we love
Hey Pikmin.
Hey, I disagree on both those points. I love both those games.
You love Hey Pikmin. You love Hey Pikmin.
Yeah, I like that.
You're gonna die on this hill. You're gonna die on this hill.
But God, Pikmin 4.
Pikmin 4 looks great.
We gotta have a Pikmin 4 like hype section in one of our episodes. Holy 100%.
Shit! Next time they show it, probably around June, I'd imagine. All right,
10,000 Noodles, you're no timeout for saying something as ridiculous as that.
Yeah, come on, don't be silly.
Yeah.
Also, someone set up in chat. Oh yeah, it was 10,000 News. Also, where the hell is this Weekend in 1 and 2 remaster? That's not Nintendo, but yeah, I don't know because Konami announced that it's supposed to come out. It's supposed to come out in spring.
Well, they're run out of time.
And they're running out of time on that one. We talked about that for way too long. Or
Yeah,
not,
that's
maybe
fine.
not long enough. That's fine. Yeah, that's the point of this podcast. We want to just like not cut
Not
ourselves
cut
short.
ourselves off. Yep.
So next major story from this week. This just happened yesterday, I think, right? There was a new Indie World showcase.
Yeah.
From the Nintendo YouTube channel. I actually didn't watch the entire thing, but I skimmed through it, and I just wanted to get a read on any of these titles, Tucker, or any of these speaking out to you. I will say for me, I'm definitely excited for Rift of the Necrodancer. I played that at PAX last year, PAX West. That game's awesome.
Oh, I didn't. I thought that it was announced here.
No.
I guess I'm just not paying attention, but yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's a more rhythm based spinoff of Crypt of the Necrodancer, but there's also like these like Rhythm Heaven sections, which is awesome. That game looks awesome, and it was awesome from when I played. And then also Animal Well, of course, this is Big Mode, the donkey video game.
Yep.
I actually, looking at it, it looks fine. I'm not sure exactly like how hype it is, but it looks cool. I was really hoping to see. I'm not a Hollow Knighter. Sorry guys.
No.
I was hoping to see Mina the Hollower here though. That's the game.
I'm excited for that as well. Yeah.
I was surprised not to see that. But yeah, what game stuck out to you from this?
Nothing new, which is a little bit disappointing. I like having an indie world showcase that shows me something I haven't seen before, and that feels fresh, and that feels like it really fleshes out what's coming. But this showcase was mostly games we'd already seen before, or sequels to games, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Getting something like Blasphemous 2 or another Necrodancer game, or DLC. They had DLC for both Shovel Knight Dig. No, Shovel Knight. Yeah. Sorry, those games released close.
They released a lot of them.
So, Shovel Knight, Pocket Dungeon, and a little to the left. So this showcase just wasn't for me. I'm excited for Oxenfree 2, the lost levels. No, what's it called?
Lost Signal.
Secrets. Lost Signal.
The lost levels.
But I'm not excited about it because they showed it in this direct, because I'm a big Oxenfree fan, and I can't wait to see what they do for continuation for that game. And Animal Well, just because I do think it looks visually interesting, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. So those were the only two that really stood out to me.
Yeah, I do want to give a shout out. I never played Teslagrad, but they dropped Teslagrad Remastered and also Teslagrad 2. They just shadow dropped both of those. I don't know if Teslagrad 2 had been announced previously. I don't think it had been. So that's pretty cool. I never got around to playing it, but that's like a classic Wii U eShop game.
Yeah.
With these indie worlds, ever since, I want to say it was 2019, they did around E3, back when they called them the Nindy Showcase.
Yeah.
They did the one where they announced Cuphead at the start of it, and then at the end of it, they announced Cadence of Hyrule.
Yeah, Cadence of Hyrule.
They have never been able to match that. And I know it's unfair because that's fucking Cuphead and a Zelda game.
Yeah.
But, or even there was one, I think, where they showed Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes, because it had indie games in it. And it's like, it sucks that something that happened, 5 years ago, I have like a little bit of an expectation of something huge. It's not fair to these indie games, but
no.
Looking at the response on Twitter to these every time when it's not Hollow Knight and it's not a new Nintendo IP spinoff, I think they.
Which, by the way, guys, has only happened once. There's not necessarily a precedent for it.
Right. I think they done good announcing Cadence of Hyrule on one of these a long time ago, because people are still talking about it.
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah,
but this was kind of a nothing. I usually love tuning into these, and I usually get something really cool out of it. But I think maybe also because I didn't watch it live, I wasn't like I kind of skimmed through it to be 100%. I was like,
that's what I did,
tapping that arrow key, which did make me like not as engaged with what was happening. But I usually am able to, like, if I see a few seconds of gameplay or a screenshot of an art style, I'm like, oh, okay, this game will appeal to me. I want to learn more about it. And there just wasn't really anything of that level to me, other than things that had already been revealed, Animal Well and Oxenfree 2. So, do better.
All right, they're doing their best. All right, next up. This isn't necessarily a huge thing, but I wanted to talk about it because I had a funny story with this.
Yeah.
So there was a Tears of the Kingdom trailer, or not even trailer. It was a commercial ad for, I think, Japan, that leaked, and it was going all over Reddit, and I made a video about it. And it actually revealed some not crazy stuff, but there was some cool new shots of like Link underground, and also like there was a shot where he had way more hearts than he should have. So it looks like there's gonna be more content in this game than Breath of the Wild in terms of like dungeons, or not dungeons, shrines. So I made a video about it, and I didn't show it in my video or anything, but I linked to the Reddit in my description of the video. The next day, I had an email from Nintendo's legal team.
Yeah, so funny.
Okay. This isn't the first time this has happened for me on this YouTube channel. I did it with Bayonetta 3. It happened, but I kind of expected it to happen there. I was playing with fire,
Mhm.
In this case, I did nothing wrong. So when I got that email, I was like, oh shit. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, there was this new TV spot leak. I got the strike removed and everything, and we're all good. But yeah,
Yeah.
this new TV spot leak. Did you look at it, Tucker? I'm guessing you probably
I
didn't.
did, yes, because I watched your video before it
Oh,
was
there you go.
taken down.
There you go.
And when you said, "Hey, Reddit link in the description," I'm like, by all means, before you talk about it, I want to watch it myself. And I watched. I don't really remember much about it. I think really the only thing that you focused on was like they named the boss
The
and
flame,
then
the flame Gliok. Yeah.
yeah. And so yeah, whatever. I wouldn't care about this unless it was like leaked. To be 100% honest,
Sure.
like a TV spot is it's whatever. But I do like that you got attacked by Nintendo ninjas.
Oh yeah, they came for me. It's always funny because like you're right, an average person's not going to care about it. But I've been making all these Zelda videos, so literally any new frame of this
Oh,
game,
God.
I'm just like,
Yeah,
by all means,
absolutely.
No, that one shot though of Link fighting the flame Gliok on the bridge looks so sick. I cannot wait. That's gonna be awesome.
It does. It looks so cool. Yeah.
All right, we have 2 more stories left to dive into. So a long time ago, in the olden days, it wasn't that long ago. I don't know how long ago it was. Nintendo took this guy Gary Bowser to court, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
For basically he was involved in hacking the Switch, the OG Switch. They took him to court. He was in prison for a little bit, but now they're letting him free under the idea that he has to pay them $10 million, or maybe it's $15 million.
Jeez.
It says,
come on,
$10
Nintendo.
million.
You don't need that money. The Mario movie is about to make $1 billion, and you get like a quarter of that.
Right. So basically, yeah, it says here Nintendo is legally allowed to take 25 to 30% of Bowser's earnings to help pay off his $10 million debt for the rest of his life. And I have to say,
this man's got the Nintendo tax for real.
He's paying child support to Nintendo for a long time.
That's so
I'm gonna say something that might piss some people off, though.
Okay.
I get it. Nintendo, big corporation, bad. You don't want that. This obviously sucks.
Yeah.
But guess what, motherfucker? Crime doesn't pay.
Yeah.
I see
Crime actually means
I
you
see
pay
I see
Nintendo
so
tax.
many people being like they shouldn't owe them a dime. It's like, I promise you, I don't know exactly how how integral he was into hacking the Switch, the OG Switch, but I know you can run modded games.
Mhm.
There is no, I promise you, just based on people hacking their Switch, maybe it hasn't hit that value yet, but a lot of people hack their stuff. They've probably lost more than that.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
So I don't feel bad for him. He did this to himself. Play with fire. It's literally the definition of fuck around and find out.
He did, yes.
10,000 Noodles said in chat they have zero intention of ever getting that money. Yeah, absolutely. They're not probably ever going to see that in full. I'm sure he's going to pay the bare minimum.
Of course not. Yeah.
They're using him as an example.
What does this guy do? This guy can't make $15 million in his lifetime.
No.
Like, or 25% of his income equaling $15 million. But I think this is, I agree. I'm on the same page as you of like, yeah, like they made like, why would they not have laws against hacking their own system? Like losing them money. Of course, they're going to have rules against that. And this guy broke that. And to the most ridiculous degree that they can, Nintendo is punishing him. I think that what feels a little imbalanced for me is that they're focusing in on this one guy. He didn't do it by himself. Right. There's a whole team of people working on this. Team
executor, yeah.
There's probably like 300 people out there right now at this very second working on modding the Switch, hacking it, learning more about the firmware, more about the software, selling their games illegally, doing all sorts of stuff. And of course, thousands and thousands and thousands of people hacking their Switches, downloading hacked games, modding their games, putting a tramp stamp on Link in Breath of the Wild, whatever it is. Like, this guy, I don't think he deserves all that put on to him. I think he deserves some pushback from Nintendo because they found out and they're like, hey, you're not supposed to do that. But like, why just him? Like, why?
There's definitely like a smaller slap on the wrist would have been fine.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know how long he was in prison. Maybe just a couple years of that would have been better. But yeah, it's definitely extreme. This is an extreme example. Like 10,000 Noodles says in chat, he's an example. They're just making an example out of him so people don't do this again. Yeah. Obviously people are going to do it anyway because they don't care. But I don't know, I saw a lot of people defending him saying he should be get off free, and I'm like, no, he shouldn't. What? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But this kind of goes into with our next story. Similar. You're talking about putting a tramp stamp on Link.
Yeah.
This was, I saw, Critical made a video about this. Everybody's talking about this this story where Nintendo went after this Zelda YouTuber, Point Crow, for taking down his Breath of the Wild multiplayer mod. This is actually a really funny story though. Like a year ago,
Yeah.
so this guy, I don't know if you've heard of Small Ant, but he's a Twitch streamer
Yeah,
who does
I know Small Ant.
like the challenge videos and the speedruns and that kind of thing. And then he
Yes.
edits
I
them
used
in
to
like
watch a lot of his Mario Odyssey videos.
right. So yeah, you're familiar with what they do. They do like challenge stuff, speedruns, that kind of thing. Last year, I believe, Point Crow put out a tweet saying, "Hey, $10,000 bounty. I want someone to make a Breath of the Wild multiplayer mod." And it was funny because there was a bunch of like devs from like I think it was maybe the Coalition or something, or it was some like big
The
dev.
Quadruple A studio?
Yeah, Quadruple A, yeah. It was some big dev saying like, this is stupid, $10,000, that's not enough to, one person can't do this. It's not that simple. Within a week. Within a week someone had it done, which is hilarious. But that Breath of the Wild mod was released privately between Point Crow and like Small Ant and all these Twitch streamers. For a long time, so they can make content about it, and I'm sure they made that $10,000 back very easily because that's a crazy clickbait. Breath of the Wild multiplayer, and I guess a few weeks ago, me neither. But I guess a few weeks ago, Point Crow released the mod to the public, and Nintendo promptly took down all his videos, took down the mod, and people are going crazy over this because, it's one of those things. It's like, should Nintendo allow this?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's stupid to take down his videos at the very least. You take down the mod, okay, I guess that's within your right. But releasing taking down the video?
Yeah.
I don't know. That feels wrong to me.
Yeah.
And also,
this is the first time I'm actually learning about this, so I don't have enough information to necessarily put my thought process on it. I think that like this is just like, guys, what did you expect from Nintendo? Nintendo's the one taking down fan games and like blocking certain kinds of YouTube videos, and like this is what they do. I mean, I know that doesn't excuse it, but like this is a huge thing this guy did. Of course, Nintendo is gonna go after this guy. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks that that's expected. Whereas like Sega would promote this. They'd be happy.
Of course,
they'd be going crazy over this.
For many reasons.
But it's definitely
when
not.
Someone makes a Frontiers multiplayer mode, which they probably will eventually.
Yeah, of course. It's definitely like, it sucks that it's expected of Nintendo, but they had to expect it. What does suck though, also, not only did they take down his videos featuring the mod, they also took down a bunch of his regular videos. I don't know how that's even within there, right? I think a lot of them are back up, but they're demonetized. But yeah, I just think like, I don't know. It's one of those things. Once again, it's just like, you fuck around and find out. They didn't do anything wrong. I'm not gonna say like he doesn't deserve to be fined or anything. 30% of his wages for the rest of his life. But it's not surprising that this happened. At all.
Yeah.
10,000 Noodles said, very petty. To be honest, Zelda speedrunners help hide the series. Yeah, I mean, I think especially with Breath of the Wild, the speedrunning community for that game, and Small Ant and Point Crow, both have helped that game stay alive, especially like in the YouTube like mindset. Like I get recommended Breath of the Wild videos all the time, even before this Tears of the Kingdom hype recently, like constantly, more than any other Zelda game. It's the best-selling Zelda game.
Breath of the Wild has got to be one of the most clipped games of recent times, because even to this day, just scrolling on whatever social media, some guy figured out how to put a boulder on a stick and shoot a cow up into the stratosphere. It's like I get clips of those, or like weird combat things where like they froze a fucking truck and then they threw a bomb at a tree and the tree's branches flew up. Like people do so much crazy stuff in Breath of the Wild, and it's clipped constantly, more so than even games that came out like I loved Elden Ring, but I don't see Elden Ring clips on my timeline. But I see Breath of the Wild clips all the time. I get them as YouTube shorts all the time. Breath of the Wild, it's because people are so invested in this game and are willing to take it to every possible limit that a game can have, that this game is as successful and long standing as it is. And that is easily going to translate into more people being interested in a sequel in which you can stick shit together and make mechs and put a sword, on a shield, on a ruby or whatever. Like Tears of the Kingdom is going to be big, not only because it's Zelda, but because people know the potential of Breath of the Wild, and expanding on that. That's what Tears of the Kingdom is for.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Tucker. I think we've been here long enough. Been about an hour.
God, get out of here.
Get out of here. So, once again, this was episode 0. This is a trial run of this podcast. We'll be back next Friday. Probably not live though. It'll probably be pre-recorded.
Yeah.
So at this point in the podcast, this is where we would do like reader comments, that kind of thing. You write into us and we read them. So probably like Wednesday or Thursday next week, I'll have like a Google form sent out on my Twitter and on the channel, so people can write in. But if anybody has anything in the chat to say, any questions or anything, or any feedback of what you would like to see from a podcast like this moving forward, let us know. We want to build this with the community and make it what you want to see moving forward.
Yeah, and of course, share this, if not this like live stream with your friends or the episode once it goes up. Share the idea that we're doing this Nintendo podcast with people that you know, like Nintendo. I assume that all you nerds on here probably have some friends
Fucking
like
nerds.
Nintendo. I'll share with my friends that like Nintendo, because we really do want this to be like, again, serving the whole of Nintendo, not just focusing on Nintendo Switch stuff. We want to talk about Nintendo's history. Bo and I are both very passionate about playing old games, looking back at Nintendo's content, looking back at even earlier years of the Switch, giving games a second shot, talking about the weirder aspects of Nintendo games that people don't really talk about, giving those the reverence that people give Tears of the Kingdom coming out, or Super Mario Odyssey. Like my co-host Abram and I on our YouTube channel, we took a look at the Kid Icarus series. We played Of Myths and Monsters. We probably talked about Of Myths and Monsters longer than anyone else has ever talked about that game on YouTube. And that's the kind of thing in a podcast format that we really want to speak to hardcore Nintendo fans for. Is like, what topics do you not hear talked about? What elements of Nintendo's culture or history or industry fascinate you? And if you give us those ideas, we can make them into segments. We can work them into different things. If there's parts of this not working, if there's parts that we feel like we're missing or stumbling over, hey, we're new at this. We want feedback. So we really, really would love to hear as much as you talk about this as much as you can, and talk about it with your friends as well.
Definitely. 10,000 Needles had a question for us, Tucker. They asked, where do babies come from? Now, I'm gonna pop it up on screen right here. This is where babies come from.
Oh, that's what you were clickety clacking about. Oh god,
they come from the stork. Come on, simple, easy. Softball.
Oh god, and then they go get bullied on the playground or whatever happened in the Mario movie. Remember Baby Mario and Baby Luigi?
Oh yeah, they get kicks over the sandcastle.
Should I buy Toe Jam and Earl 3 even if I don't have friends? There's a Toe Jam and Earl 3?
This is news to me.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Like I said, podcast gimmick idea: generate a random Switch game every episode and give a brief review at the end of the episode. Yeah, I definitely want to incorporate stuff like that too. I don't know.
Oh sure. Oh, I like that. Yeah.
But I love the Easy Allies podcast back in the day, and they always have fun games. It might be a little hard since it's just two of us, so there's not one with the questions and two people answering, that kind of thing. But stuff like that, little games we can play.
Yeah, and we could also work that into community stuff of somehow making up a question and soliciting answers from the community and talking about those, or I don't know. I think there is a way to make sort of a mini game segment out of it or something. But I really do like the idea of picking a random game, and even if we more than likely, or not more than likely, but certainly possible, we don't have anything to say about it. Then we talk about why we haven't played it. What could we do to go play this? What would we think? What might we think if we played it? I really like that idea, to be 100% honest. Omega, ding! You get a thumbs up from me. Official NS podcast thumbs up. That's the first one.
Well, see, here's the issue here, Tucker. Every week we're gonna get the hentai games that are on the eShop. Every week it's gonna be Mo Waifu H or whatever. Dude, every time I look at that's a whole topic actually. I'm gonna save this. The eShop is fucked.
Okay,
that's all I'm gonna say right now. The eShop is really bad. But with that said, I think we're gonna end off here. This is gonna stay up. You can keep watching this after.
Yep.
Rewatch it. I'll put timestamps later tonight, probably. And leave comments if you're watching this now on the VOD. Leave comments, leave feedback, even leave questions for next week. Totally. That's totally valid. So, Tucker, do you have any final words here?
Well, just the bit of information that I'm going to teach you how to use Anchor so that these episodes, I think, well, maybe not this one since it's live, but
the pre-recorded ones will look better.
The actual episodes of the podcast will go up on podcast services. So, excuse me, if you prefer listening to your long-term white boys talk about video games content without video, not seeing our ugly mugs, you will be able to, not now that the podcast doesn't exist yet, be able to listen to it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and I don't know, do people use SoundCloud anymore? What other? It goes on other podcast services, but yeah, very excited for this to be a thing because we were talking about this and we're like, we should just get started. We gotta bite the bullet. Just go for it.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess I should have maybe introduced this at the start, but literally 2 days ago, I tweeted I kind of want to do it in no podcast. Not gonna lie, and I got a ton of people responding like, "Hey, you want me to do it with you?" And I was like, okay, there's interest in this, so I guess I'll just do it. Because, you know,
Well,
with what I cover on this channel, obviously when a new Nintendo game comes out, I kind of hyper-focus on that. Like, when Pokemon came out, I'm focusing on that, or when Zelda's coming out, I'm focusing on that. So there's a lot of, like, smaller Nintendo news stuff that I don't get to talk about, like
yeah.
them going after a hacker, you know?
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah,
not going to
yeah.
make a separate video on that. But talking about it in a podcast with someone is fun. And also just talking about it with someone at all is also fun, because I don't really have
Sure.
guests on my channel much anymore. Caleb, this is exactly what I was talking about. Interesting to see a podcast like this from people that aren't 35.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes. That's what makes us distinct.
Nothing against them, but every podcast,
something.
maybe a little something.
Maybe a little.
No. But yeah, it feels like every Nintendo podcast is 35-year-olds, and that's fine. But they miss out on like Splatoon, and they miss out on Xenoblade, and they don't cover the nitty gritty of what the actual Nintendo fandom now, which I think is probably mostly people our age, actually experiences.
Yeah, that's actually the disconnect that I really want to make this podcast focus on, like us being distinct, is a lot of what people know about Nintendo in popular culture and even just in like the games industry is through the lens of people who grew up in a different era than us. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that. They should talk about the games that they love. They should espouse the stories from their childhood that made them the formative gamers that they are. But like, you and I grew up in the Wii and DS era, and not we didn't experience Mario 64 when it came out. We don't have the reverence for NES or SNES games that people that are much older than us do. And so, like,
I got so scared you were gonna say I don't have the reverence for Super Mario 64, and I was I was gonna come through the screen and punch you in the face.
No, I save myself there. But I do think that we can offer a different perspective just by the default of that we don't have that same experience with those games that people. It seems like there's like a general patina of people that are like, yeah, no, of course, everyone remembers when Mario 64 came out and like it was the craziest thing of all time. It's like that was a great game, but like not most people who have played that game by now did not have that experience, and like that's something to like offer ourselves up for.
For sure. Well, I think we're gonna head out here. Tucker, thank you for joining me on this first episode, of course. Check out Tucker on Backlog Banter, also Backlot Banter movie channel.
Yeah.
Watch for that Bo is Afraid review coming out here.
It's already up.
Oh, it's already okay.
It's already
there you go.
Yeah.
Of course, they can follow. We have the Twitter. These are Twitter handles. I realized I probably should put like a bird underneath.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
It's you know every platform uses the @ now, so it's not exactly.
You could put the little Doge, because remember they changed their logo to Doge for a little bit a couple days ago.
Are you buying Twitter Blue, Tucker?
No, God, are you kidding me? I'm a starving college student. Look how skinny I am. I don't even meat on my bones.
I'm fat. I'm fat and happy. I might be buying some Twitter Blue. No. All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Once again, leave us feedback. Join the Discord. Talk to us there about it. And until next Friday, it'll probably be a pre-recorded episode next Friday, but same time it'll be posted. I'll see you all.
Same bow time, same bow channel. You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying. All right. See you guys.